Hi, Lee Phillips here. I want to talk to you about putting a piece of property into a living revocable trust, or more specifically, putting a piece of property that has a mortgage on it into a living revocable trust. You all know that the due on sale clause triggers whenever a property is transferred, basically. Let me explain the due on sale clause for 2 seconds. It was back in the early 80s, and I remember I got my house and I bought it. The lady let me assume the loan and then tack some interest rates on top of the loan. I think her loan was 6%, and she gave me a smoking deal. I got a full 12% interest rate on my mortgage that she let me assume. Well, interest rates hit like 18%, and all the banks are going, wait a minute, we've got all these mortgages out there at 5 or 6%, and now interest rates are 18%, and, whoa, all of our mortgage contracts say that the mortgages can just be assumed. So nobody went to the bank to get a mortgage at 18%. We would assume the last guy's mortgage and give the guy a little spiff on top of whatever the bank was charging for the mortgage. So the banks went to Congress, and Senator Garn of Utah and Senator St. Germain, Rhode Island, Vermont, someplace up there, wrote a law which said if the property ownership basically is transferred, then the bank can call the due on sale clause. So does that mean that you have to have your house or your rental unit paid off before you have to transfer it into the trust? And it helps when I turn my cell phone off. The answer is no. A living revocable trust is a specific exception under the Garn-St. Germain Act. It says transfer into an inter vivos trust. That's a trust, living trust. Inter vivos is Latin for living. A living trust, a living revocable trust, in which the borrower is and remains a beneficiary. So the borrower has got to be a beneficiary of the trust, but me and my wife, we set up the trust, we're the beneficiaries of the trust. And which does not relate to a transfer of rights of occupancy to the property. So we're going to transfer this piece of property into the trust, and the occupants are going to be the same, me and wife. And so it's a specific exception under the Garn-St. Germain Act. And generally the living revocable trust is a disregarded entity under the law. It's you. You can revoke it. You can get it back whenever you want. So the IRS, the courts, everybody says, hey, forget about it, it's you. And the Garn-St. Germain Act is the same thing. So you're going to use a quit claim deed, or you could use a warranty deed, but in this case, a quit claim deed is okay because we're just moving the property from one of my pockets over to the other one of my pockets. It's still me. And so I can just quit claim it over to the living revocable trust. All the warranties and everything are still there because the warranties are with me and I'm still there. I'm still the guy. So use a quit claim deed, transfer it from you, your husband's, wife's ownership over into the trust. The name of the living revocable trust is the name of the trust, the date of the trust, and the trustee. So the trustee's name's got to be on the deed too. All three of those elements have got to be there in order to have a valid deed. But you're going to quit claim it over. You don't even have to bother to tell the mortgage company. They don't care. Technically, the insurance company doesn't care. So it's still you as far as all these people are concerned. Go ahead, move the property. Don't wait to pay it off. Move it immediately into the living revocable trust as soon as you set up the trust. And that way, we're going to avoid probate on that piece of property. Because technically, when you die, remember the trick, when you die, the owner of the piece of property didn't die. just the manager of the property, the trustee of the trust. So it's a great way to avoid probate, and that's primarily what you're doing with the living revocable trust. Now don't forget to subscribe. I keep putting up new YouTube channel or videos all the time, and you'll get a notice of the title of the whatever I put up this week, or I try and put up at least one a week. And I usually write an article also. So check out the websites, and you can learn a lot about what you're doing with your living revocable trust, your LLCs, asset protection, taxes. We address all kinds of stuff. So subscribe, and we'll see you on another one.